Guess how many numbers have to be in the circle, of course. It's 24. We're not going to kick us out of the room, are we? No?
Yeah, better.
There's 24 numbers, and if you, and these are the notes, the individual notes, if you then put those in a circle, you'll see there, you can follow them round. It's on the inner ring there, or the middle ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 24. 24-hour clock is what you've got, okay? At 24, remember the octave, which is still 22, without the Pythagorean kicks, the octave spirals up. This is creation. This is physical matter, energy, spiraling away to infinity. It must, and it loops in cycles of 24, is what it's telling you. So if that were true, if you put it in a circle, it would then tell you or show something to you that's rather revealing. So you do that, and that's what I've got on that piece of paper for you. Don't get too confused with all the other numbers yet. Just notice that all the prime numbers lie on 8 rays. Anyone familiar with the New Age will know the term 8 rays. Anyone familiar with Buddhism will know the term the 8 rays of light. Okay? So if you actually had a pen in your hand and you wanted to draw those rays in, does anyone recognise the shape? That's the cross of the Knights Templar. Alright? And if that's a startling coincidence, you then take the processional numbers, and some of you know about the procession of the equinoxes. Some of you maybe don't, so what it is the wobble of the planet. It's what defines our perspective of everything else that's out there. So you have to take account of that, and they have done for millennia. In fact, that's what your stone circles were. That's what the Druids set them up for. When the Earth wobbled to a certain point, they simply had to keep time against the background stars so they could track the passing of time. So they knew when the next time will begin, the next age of precession. This is all about precession. That is what happens in 2012. Alright? The end of a great age. Not the end of the universe or the end of life as we know it, but certainly an evolution in consciousness is taking place. As you can tell from the music, it's rather good. The music of the spheres. Mike, do I need to draw this to a close, or?
Maybe an idea.
It's 5:20.
Right, well I shall do this in 5 minutes then. Just a bit thrown off by the tones coming in there. Take the prime number cross. Can everyone see that, the 8 rays? All the prime numbers lie on the 8 rays. Can you see that without me detailing that any further? Yeah? Now the reason that they don't call 1 a prime number, and yet it is by very definition, is because when you discover that every prime number lies to either the left or the right, it's 1 more or 1 less than every multiple of 6 to infinity, you'll find the only exceptions to that rule are squares of previous prime numbers. This actually is the nature and structure of all matter and all energy. That's how it evolves. On the other page, that is a physicist's handbook. Where do you think this came from? Yeah? And it proves time and time again. So, what you can then assume is that -1 is also a prime number because 0 is a multiple of 6, is it not? 0 times 6 is 0. Therefore, a prime number exists either side of 0. Give that to a mathematician and put that in your mathematical pipe and smoke it. And you know what happens? All these equations where they use prime numbers change slightly. Can't go into much more detail there because it gets a bit complex for this sort of talk, and for me. But there's the prime number cross. Yes, there's the cross of the Knights Templar, and that is actually formed around the processionary numbers of 11 and 19 and other numbers. I'm just giving you a hint of a path I could take you there. So, 1 most final point, the penultimate has to be the word. You know, we're talking on this one back here, we're talking about everything, whatever it is inwardly composed of many different forces, actually definable as octaves, inwardly composed of 7. That is pi. Alright? A prime number cross, which actually betrays the secrets of the prime numbers. All of three-dimensional reality is constructed around prime numbers. And that which goes beyond is based around the whole number series. Alright? Just a little clue for anyone who's researching numbers and theory. And if you ever want to discover the significance of a number in esoteric writing, reciprocate it. Divide it into one. Do what it says in the Bible. Unity. Divide it into unity. Give you their number system that they employ. Pure Pythagorean maths, this is what Jesus taught. Now people can say you're wrong, prove it. I just bloody have. You can go and read it in the Bible now. Okay? What he was saying was this knowledge is known. It's been known right through the pharaohs and so on. And yes, he wasn't necessarily a good guy who wanted this for the benefit of the people. Who wanted it was Paul. That knowledge was stolen, put into the church and kept and condemned as a cult and devil-like ever since. Alright? And anyone who comes across it used to get burned. Thank God it's not quite the same nowadays. Although it is in many respects, because I will get burned for saying this. Trust me. Hopefully not too bad. Yes, coming back. There's an ancient knowledge. Now, if I've touched on it. I do not expect people to see it, and I don't claim to know it all. Alright? But it's there, and it's provable. And you can prove it in 7 different ways, and the Bible tells you how to do that as well. Bear in mind that the Bible isn't a Christian thing, it's pre-Christian. Yeah? All of these writings were stolen to create a religion. It's there, and it's known. 7 ways of proving anything. Open the 7 seals, and you will be able to see the 7 seals of knowledge as they are. The 7th seal is consciousness itself. You have to consciously grasp this. You have to do something based upon that knowledge. When you open that, it will cause a personal apocalypse. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I did it. I was on TV within 3 weeks. It's strange how things happen. Anyway, all of these forces underlying everything in nature in the same way. Whatever these forces are doing and however they're interacting, yeah, their net result is what you see. Yeah? So this pen, it's not going to do it, is it? That pen is stood there because the force of gravity is working that way, other forces of air pressure is working that way, lots of other forces, scalar forces as physics would explain to you, all coming in all different angles, but the net effect is that pen stays there. Alright? Even though underlying that position are many different forces interacting. So science sees that pen there and it defines rather neatly that that pen is there. We'll give it a vector. It's an inch from that side of the table, it's 3/4 of an inch from that side. That's its position in space. And yet, underlying it are all the resonances that make the matter, all the things that are influencing, all the sound waves that are bouncing off it. It's a bit heavy to move. All of these things have a net result, and it's that net result that you see. All of these forces I refer to as scalar forces because there is, how do you put this one? We live in a 4-dimensional universe. Literally, time is not a dimension. Ignore it for all practical purposes. Time actually cycles according to the phi ratio. Things will repeat in your life based upon a certain mathematical calculation. It's not your actions that repeat, it's the circumstances that will permit those actions to happen again. You can see this and actually track it. And I think Greg Braden has touched on this, if anyone's interested in that particular author. You'll find that things repeat through history.